Hello my beautiful yogis, welcome to the Yoga Pantry, and we're going to look at some ways to stretch those glutes, those buttocks, the side of the thighs there. We're going to look at Pigeon Pose, how to get into it comfortably, how to look after your body properly, how to vary it, and we're going to look at some other poses that do the similar or the same thing, but maybe more suitable for your body type. So you can rock into any class, and if you get presented with a particular pose and it's not suitable for you, you can adjust and look after yourself and keep yourself safe. You can say to the yoga teacher, thank you very much, this is what I'm choosing. It does the same thing, so back off. Maybe in a more polite way. So let's roll out on that and let's play with pigeon. Kapotanasana, pigeon pose. A lot of people just try and lie straight down into it, but that's not the fullness of our pigeon. But before we fully go into pigeon, let's just stretch out a little bit. It's nice to work our way there first. So let's come into a downward facing dog. Tread out. Walk out your feet, lengthen out your body, reach up through your sitting bones. Breathe deeply, have a play with your down dog. Now I really encourage you to play with your down dog because you just never know what you might discover. You can bend one leg a whole bunch and straighten the other one. You can shift your weight around, and this is a great way to just start to warm up the joints as well and the strength in the body. And if it feels comfortable, you can do a little dog split on both sides. See how that feels for you. We're going to explore those in another how-to video, right? Let's just have a look at how we feel here. So let's come down to our knees for a moment. Open out through the chest, nice little cat stretch, and round, pushing the floor away. Breathe the heart open. Here's another one. We can look at another video because there's lots of different things you can do from every single pose. There's more ways than one to get what you want out of your asana. Okay, so one way to get into our pigeon pose from here is to have your knees down. And I'm going to work with my left leg to start off with so you can see what's going on. And I could, if I've got the flexibility, bring my knee through. I'm bringing it, to start off with, to my left wrist. Then I can reach out through my back leg and stretch myself back, extending through that foot, making sure the foot's not curling off to one side, which mine has a tendency of doing, but just keeping it in line. Notice that my body changes too when my foot changes, so being aware that that leg is nice and straight behind me. Now this already might be challenging for some people. You might feel collapsed over from one side to the other. So let me just quickly run off and grab a couple of props. Ta-da! So when we have our props at our disposal, it doesn't mean we're a beginner. It means we understand what our body needs. And I might need to have a little cushion underneath my buttock. Or I might need a whole lot more. I might need a big old block underneath there. And it's all about finding the place that's going to support your hips to be squared to the front. So for example, if I'm on this side, I might need a little cushion under here to support my body. The idea in pigeon is we want to square our hips up to the front, and we don't want to collapse into one side or the other. The other idea is that this knee feels comfortable and safe. So you may have seen some Instagram yogis with their front shin parallel to the top of the mat. Now I am showing you in this position because my hips and my knees are not built for me to do pigeon in this position. If I tried that, I'm going to do some serious damage to my knee. For me, I'm sorry, my feet are a bit dirty. I've been earthing outside on the ground. And I really should have done something about that before I came onto my yoga mat. For me, my ankle is going to come closer to my hip bone. So in this case, my anatomy, my knee comes straight out from my hip on my right side, but my ankle is more or less in line with my hip on my left side. And that allows me to really square my body up to the front. I have to also draw in through the core so that I'm protecting my lower back. And I can shrug my shoulders back. Now, I could also have props to help support me, to hold my body up, or maybe coming up a lot doesn't work for me, so I could have them just to help me stay up before I do the whole reclining thing. It's really important just to take your time to set up the foundations of your pose so that then you can make the most out of them and get all of the yummy goodness out of them. So let me show you again on the other side. This is, of course, another way to get into pigeon. I can just put my leg into position, roll over, and lengthen myself out. So from this position, in my pigeon pose, feeling my hips nice and connected, squared up to the ground, I'm going to draw in through my belly and open my chest. Now here, boom, that's the big old pigeon heart. Goo, goo. And this is a great place for me to start building strength in my hip flexors. If I'm even stronger, I could take my hands away. I could clasp my hands behind me, open my heart. I could bring the arms up. That's pretty intense, and you might feel a lot going on in the lower back. So if you do feel a lot going on in the lower back, don't do it. Slowly, be patient with yourself. Time will help. Now, for some people, this knee is going to come in across the body. We really ideally don't want that to happen because it means that your leg is kind of in your way and coming down. So there are things you can do. If I'm in pigeon, and for a start, I need a whole bunch of props underneath me, and this leg wants to come in, then pigeon might not be the one for me, and we're going to look at some variations in a moment. But another option I can have here is I could just bend my back leg. And now we're starting to move into deer pose territory. So if this is comfortable, you could have the back leg bent, and chances are you might be able to open the front leg a little more. So for me, because in pigeon pose I can't have my shin parallel to the top of the mat, I sometimes choose deer pose because sometimes it's juicier just for me to get into those hips. So with my back leg, hip to knee, knee to ankle, ankle to foot, toes, making right angles, I can then, if I want to, choose to sit up tall, pull up through my body and find my strength here, just like we did in our pigeon pose. Or I can start to work my way forward, and it might not be very far. This might be it. Or I might come to a prop or two, or I might be able to just lay myself out over that leg. And it's all about the sensation here. Same thing in our pigeon pose. So I'm in my pigeon pose. And let me get onto my mat properly. I've played with strengthening my body. Boom. I can even push up here. This is a good exercise to build strong hip flexors. That's quite hard to do. You could have props beside you to help as you build the strength into your hip flexors, into your glutes. Wake up those glutes, but you don't have to do that. It's not necessary, but it can be good and fun. It's good to have options. So from here, just like when I was in the deer pose a few moments ago, I could choose to lean forward a little more. I could choose maybe to have my props for my forearms, and maybe that's as far as I need to go. I could choose to come to my forearms, and maybe this is as far as I want to go. Or I can recline all the way down. And maybe that is juicy and yummy, but I need to make sure that this knee is happy about this whole situation. If at any point I don't feel safe in the knee, I need to come out of it. Otherwise, I'm going to hurt my knee. And once you hurt your knee, that's a long, slow recovery. So let's just not get injured in the first place. Now, once I'm in my reclined pigeon, or if you're in yin, it's called sleeping swan. Once I'm here, I can stay here. Or I can choose to move away from the front knee, about 45 degrees or so, off to the side. Or I can choose to thread my arm, my right arm coming through to my left knee, and I could lie down onto that arm, still getting all of the stretch happening. This arm could reach out in front, it could tuck behind, or it could even grab my toe. So let me show you that on the other side. Getting into my wee pigeon, checking my alignment for my body, feeling comfort and length through my hips, and I could thread through here, reach up behind, maybe the hand just rests here, that's all good, or hello foot, and yogic toe lock, first two fingers, grab the big toe, or I could just grab it with my hand. And this is going to give you a big old stretch in the shoulder, in the hip, in the body. Likewise, I can move out this way as well, which might increase the stretch for you. Another version, while I'm here, is I can move into my mermaid to stretch my quads. So if pigeon is working out for you, super comfy, loving it, you might come up a little bit and bend that extended leg. Now you might need a strap around that foot to pull it towards you, or you might be able to reach the foot and draw that in. Now you can stay down. Oh, such a good quad stretch. You can totally stay down. And depending on which hand you grab your foot with, will change where the stretch is in your quadricep. So you can play with that, or you can sit up into it. So once you come up here, it's known as mermaid or even king pigeon pose. And again, you can choose to have right hand, left hand to left foot, or even right hand to left foot. As long as you are drawing the belly in and keeping your lower back secure. Now, if you're super flexible and you want to go even deeper, then we can pop the foot in the little crook of the elbow, reach up with the other hand and connect in badinga into your full mermaid pose. And you can do that on both sides. As you come out, just gently release the knees, especially if you have any knee niggles, make sure it's comfortable, release it out. And you can just roll to one side, whoop, release the legs, give them a little shake out. And what I do recommend is the knee that was underneath you, that you make sure that you give it a little walk so that the synovial fluid gets to flow through that joint again. Now another way to get into pigeon pose is from your downward facing dog. So in your down dog, you can look at where your wrists are, where your hands are, and bring the knee in. Slide yourself back, adjust, 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 find comfort, breathe into that pigeon, and don't be in a rush to get down here because there's a lot going on for our body here, a lot of strengthening going on, a lot of lengthening and opening through the chest. And what happens is you also get a stretch in your hip flexors on the extended leg, so on my right side. As I come down, that stretch moves from the hip flexors and it comes more into the glutes and the outer thigh. So just like getting into it with your downward facing dog, you can get out of it with your down dog. So as you come up, taking your time to adjust yourself, tucking your toes, and then pressing back. And using that down dog to walk it out. Leg that was underneath you, let's just give it a good little walk out, get the synovial fluid going back through. And breathing into that. So those are Lots of different things you can do in your pigeon pose. Safe ways to get in and out of it, and also fun things to play with, as well as our deer pose variation. So remember, deer pose, I'll show you on the other side. So I take my knee out just like I would my pigeon pose, and then I can bend that back leg, open up the front leg. I can roll over, and I'm in deer pose on this side as well. And it's just adjusting to find that boxy position in our legs. So hip bone to knee, knee to ankle, ankle to foot. Right angles, same. From here, if you're feeling pinching, you can lean back a little bit, and this is a lovely stretch. This is a lovely twist. This here is a great stretch in place of pigeon. And all you need to do to come out is roll over, and bam, you're in it on the other side. Now, if none of those things work, you've had some knee injuries, putting your weight on your knees just isn't a thing, never fear. There are other things you can do. So thread the needle becomes your friend. And there's a few different ways to tackle our thread the needle. You can lean back onto your forearms, take your right foot over your left leg, flex the foot so that your knee is nice and supported. So same thing on this side, boom, boom. I'll do this side because I don't want you to see my dirty feet all the time. I'm not used to having dirty feet. I usually wear my shoes everywhere, but since I've been grounding, I have to wash my feet all the time. That's not a bad thing. Meanwhile, back to this pose. So you might already feel a whole lot here. This might be it for you. Or some of you might like to come up. Now, if you're going to sit into your thread the needle, you don't want to sit and hunchy hunch here. You want to open the chest because that's what connects you to your stretch and your glutes. Now, you can slide your booty right up to your heel. You can move your body right up to your knee. Breathing deeply into it. And the closer you bring that leg towards you, the deeper the stretch. This isn't for everyone though. The good news is you can just go ahead and lie down. I'm just going to grab this all the way to the ground. That might be already your intensity. Or you can, this is why it's called thread the needle. Left leg is over the top, left hand's going to come through the hole, ta-da, and grab hold either on the shin or the back of the thigh. Now for those of you that you end up all the way up here, it's totally fine to have support underneath the back and the shoulders so you can relax down, or you could even have a strap coming around the leg and holding on. Now here's the magic. So right now, my right knee is rolling into center. I'm not feeling a whole lot on that left side, but the moment I start to shift my knee in line with my body, in line with my shoulder, I might feel more. And then if I move it slightly to the outside of the shoulder, so I'm moving my right knee more to the right, I might feel a whole lot more. I'll show you on this side. So as I move that leg over, then I might start to connect into my glutes even more. I could, in fact, have that leg lengthened and pull that towards me. This is another form of a thread the needle. I could bring my knees in line with each other and pull my legs towards me, and I'm going to get into the glutes as well. So all of these options are going to give you the same stretch that you get in a pigeon pose. It's just about finding the one that's going to help you the best. And there's one more. If you cannot do any of these, none of it's comfortable, then the wall is our friend. So from here, I'm just going to not dirty my curtain. You can come not so close to the wall. So I've got about a foot away from my butt and the base of the wall. And then placing my left foot on the wall, I can lift the hips so I can get my right foot over the top. And then I can start to sink my hips down to the floor. And once I'm there, then that might be it. That might be intense. If your hips are hovering above the ground, you can pop a little cushion in there, that's all good. But the more flexible you are, the closer you will get your body to the wall. So your butt might come all the way to the wall. This leg might not come down so much. It all depends on how close you want to fold yourself into your body. But it's a lovely way to tackle that glute stretch in place of pigeon. And again, just like we do from pigeon, we're going to kick out the knees that were bent, that were doing the work, just to get that synovial fluid rolling back through the joint. And those are a few ways you can stretch out your glutes and target your hips and feel really lovely and yummy, especially if you've done a lot of running or cycling and you've got a tight backside. Remember, a tight muscle is a weak muscle, so we want them to be flexible and strong. Thank you very much for joining my TED Talk. That was a lot longer than I intended, but hopefully it was super useful. I will see you again very soon. And as always, if there's something you'd like me to break down or a particular workout you want me to work out for you, let me know. It is my pleasure to create this content for you. I'll talk to you real soon.